Hello there, welcome to the first video on the Percussive Maintenance channel. Seeing as I'm brand new to this whole thing, please excuse the scuff, which will include but is not limited to audio issues, subpar videography, and random tangents. This video is quite a bit longer than I anticipated, just because of all the unforeseen issues that I had unfortunately ran into. Please enjoy my suffering as you watch the video, and watch me transform this children's toy here into a mobile retro gaming system. This video is not to be taken as a guide whatsoever, so please do not try to follow along. That's for your sake. You're gonna have a bad time if you try to do that. Maybe even worse than what I had. As this is YouTube, I'm obligated to ask you to comment, rate, and subscribe, but only if you want to. I'd love to hear from you guys and see you again in the future. Please enjoy. Well, we're gonna try it with this guy. So what is this, you might ask? Well, some of you remember this from your youth. Some of you, like me, are far too old to remember. But this is a LeapsterGS. This was a little device for kids where they could play educational games and all sorts of stuff there in the slot down there at the bottom. And I just bought this on eBay. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some batteries in this. I don't even know if it works yet. And we'll see how it goes from there. So as you can see, yes, I did speed it up 2,600 times because this thing was infuriating to get into. The one side came off not too badly, but the other one that looks all chewed up is chewed up for a reason because the previous owner, like me, had to use a flathead screwdriver to get into it. So at this point, I did pop some batteries into it, tried to power it on, and nothing was working. And I was really losing hope at this point, thought it might be broken, but... Well, you know what they say, go with the easiest solution. Maybe the batteries aren't actually charged, even though the charger said they were. So we'll go ahead and yank those out. Try some new ones. So here's me from the future, 10 minutes from what you just saw. Turns out I cut myself a few times on my palm. That's great. And with this guy, what I tried to do was, of course, charge the batteries. And I also wanted to test the batteries. Turns out that's broken. Turns out the battery charger is broken. So this is going great already. So what I'll do in the meantime is clean this all up with some isopropyl alcohol, 97%, that kind of thing. You know, give that a nice once over. Try to clean up the screen, you know, trying to get any kind of that gunk that I kept coming across, like you can see right there. Get all that cleaned up and hope that it actually turns on when I get functioning batteries. Okay, so because I knew this was going to keep me up at night, I decided to scour the house for batteries. I found a total of 4 working AA batteries. Thank you, Xbox controller, for your sacrifice. And now we will go ahead and test the power. Ta-da! It turns on. Let's see what it goes through. Little jingle. Wonder if it has any games built into it. Well, we're not Jillian, we're not Jill and Jilla, and we're not Jicklalan. So I guess we'll...
Choose guest badges will not be saved. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Connect now to set up your LeapsterGS Explorer.
Okay.
Welcome to the Home menu. Here you can launch games and learning apps by tapping the icons. Tap on your profile picture to change the picture. Tap on your pet to play games or create a new pet.
Yeah, I think 5-year-old me would have loved this. And apparently this thing has a camera.
Camera and video recorder. Tap an icon to get started.
Is it touchscreen?
Tap here to take a photo. Tap here to make a video. Tap here to edit your photos. Tap here to make a photo album or see the photo albums you've already made. Tap here to see the photos you've taken. Tap here to see the videos you've made. Tap here to see the badges you've earned. Camera.
Oh wow, it is touchscreen. Interesting.
To take a picture, press press the left or right shoulder buttons or tap here.
Go ahead and take a picture of...
To take a picture, press the left
I hear
or
you.
right.
Best part of the mat is where it says users instead of users.
My photos.
Might have to blur this out in case
Tap
there's
on a picture
kid
to
photos
see
on
it.
here. Well, there definitely are photos from the previous
To look
owner.
through your pictures, swipe your stylus across.
That's weird. I'll be deleting those. But yeah, UESRS. Nice little mat, but oh, looks like I knocked the batteries out a little bit. So now that I know that it works, though, and this is getting too involved in playing around with it, I'm going to go ahead and come back when we have, working batteries that will stay with this device. Want to clean it up, and then we can start the process of playing games on this that you should never be able to play. So that'll be coming up soon. All right, so it's a new day. I got some batteries. Not dealing with the rechargeable stuff. They're not going to come in time. I'm going to give this a nice once over, clean it up, get all this gunk, nasty stuff out. One thing I did want to note is I found out there's like these little pieces of foam in there that I think that's what this was snagging on and refusing to open. I can understand why they would do that, because this is a children's toy after all. And if you have children, or if you're around children, you know that children are not the brightest sometimes, and they love taking things and shoving it in their mouth. And you don't want to deal with, a child potentially swallowing a battery. So I definitely understand that, but this is grody, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a once over and see how it looks after I'm done. And actually, just real quick, apparently it has a stylus. I thought that was for like a keychain or something, but obviously no. So I'll see you guys here in a minute. All right. Well, I think that's about the cleanest I'm going to get it at the moment. There's plenty of tiny little scratches on there, but I mean, you can just look at the buttons. This was a very loved device by the child that played with this. The fact that they completely wore that off, because yeah, it's supposed to be a bit on these, and obviously A and B over here. So it's nice to see that this little piece of tech was very well loved and used quite a bit by its owner, and now we're going to make it do things it's never been intended to do. All right. All right, so we have the LeapsterGS all cleaned up as well as I can get it. Fresh batteries, looking pretty good. What's next? Emulation. So going into day 2, I was pretty hopeful that I was going to get everything set up and running, and it was only going to take 20 minutes at most. Yeah. So at first I tried quite a bit on my MacBook Pro, which runs Antix, I don't know how you pronounce it, which is based on Debian. I have a whole lot of footage of me failing time and time again. I did a ton of research online into the issues I was encountering, what other people figured out, what worked for them, specific issues with my particular version of Linux or, Debian, etc. And I came up with absolutely nothing. And get the same error once more. So you may notice the MacBook is no longer there. Well, flashing just was not working whatsoever. And I looked on their GitHub page, and it seems that other people have had the same kind of issue. One guy tried it on a different computer and it worked. So guess what we get to do? Yeah, so spoiler alert, didn't work. Oh boy. Okay, so we have everything important here. We have the LeapsterGS. We have the Bagel. We have the dusty old Ubuntu laptop because it didn't like my other laptop. So we're going to go ahead and update this and run everything and hope that it works. So as you can see, it's 1:20 and that's AM. I've been working on this for forever. This is the furthest I've gotten. Hallelujah. So what I did is I went to the SSH flash commits list and I tried to use older commits than what the instructions say. Now, this one right here from April 3rd, 2020 is the one that I just changed on the laptop. And that's the one that came the furthest so far out of everything that I've been messing around with. Now I'm told that this can take up to 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. I'm very much hoping that this actually works. And if it doesn't, I'm going to bed. Well, now it's 1:37 and it continues to fail. So I'm giving up for tonight. I actually happened to come across a YouTube video where that guy did all this with Windows, not Linux. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try that tomorrow. And maybe we can get this guy going. Maybe. Possibly. Did you think it would get better? Haha! No, it got worse. So, I tried it on Windows, but you might notice Windows 11. Yeah, you can't use Windows 11, it turns out. You have to use Windows 10. And I do have a Windows 10 machine, but it's from 2008, and I am not kidding. Also, I traded 2 Coca-Colas for that laptop. Anyways, all my other machines are Windows 11, so now I have to go dig out that thing and hope that it works. Well, here we go, another day of suffering. So this time, I actually tried to do what I'm doing over here on Windows on my main machine, but that's Windows 11, which obviously didn't work. So I'm trying to do stuff on Windows 10. Now, the guide I saw said that you had to look under network adapters after installing a very specific driver and look for the Leapfrog device, which was going to have a weird name. But in my case, it actually just comes up as a disk drive. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to do there. I'm assuming that I need to update the driver and make it to that weird open source driver that would then make it show up as an Ethernet device. And then I can set the IP and then we can do the flashing. But we'll see. Okay, so I'm regaining hope. Did a lot of back and forth, and I completely forgot how horrible Windows is with drivers when you're trying to tell it, these are the drivers I want, and it just says, no, we're not doing that. For the longest time, the Leapster was showing up as a hard drive. Now we got it to show up as a network device, and I'm about to install the Data Logic USB LAN adapter, and we'll see if that works. Successful. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now I should be able to go back in here. Oh, right. I'm forgetting a step. I should be going to... I thought I had it open. I guess I closed it. Control panel. Also, hello there. You can see me in the reflection. Oh well. Network and sharing center. change adapter settings. Haha, there it is. So there's the data logic USB LAN adapter. Take that, go to IPv4, and we want to change the IP address to 169.254 8 and then 15, I believe. Yep, enter the subnet mask for me. Thank you. And let's try this again. Yep. And we're still on that screen. Turn this down a little bit. There we go. A little less harsh. And let's see what happens. Never like seeing errors, but I mean, at least it's progress. Okay, so the process ended, and can I get a hallelujah? Retro Leap. There it is. So now I only have to actually get, ROMs and emulators and everything else on here and configured and etc. So the easy part's done now. Oh, you're still here? Yeah, we're not done yet. So you go to Ethernet, you have to change the IP address to, actually, let me move this out of the way, 169.254.6.10. And yes, I know that says 6.1. That's what you have to do to get to a certain part of the LeapsterGS. So you would change the file protocol to SEP, 169.254.6.1, username's root, blank password. Then you'd go to advanced authentication, and then you find the key, which is in the key folder that was in the SSH folder that you initially had downloaded. And in my case, I had to convert it from OpenSSH to a PuTTY format, so it made a new key. Also, you have to click and make it show all files, because if you don't do that, well, you won't be able to see it. And then, okay. And then I'm not going to be able to do it here because I haven't changed anything, but you would click manage and then save, and for the love of God, save it. So now when I open up WinSCP, oh, cancel. Leapster is right there. So I don't have to worry about remembering all this crap, because that would be absolutely insane. So now we're going to log in. Continue connecting to an unknown server. Yes, we want to accept. And we're in. So in my case, I totally legitimately got a download of something called Best NES Games. And I'm just going to whoop over here as soon as I figure out where the heck it's supposed to go. Well, maybe if I open my eyes, I'd see that nice little folder called ROMs that I can throw everything into. So I'm going to move that over. All right, so we're back to this view again. I haven't tested anything. I ran a couple, well, not ran. I moved a couple files over, and what's it doing? Looks like it decided to turn itself off. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then we will go to quickness. ROMs. Yep. NES. Let's try some Mario. That's a classic. Make sure the volume's all the way up. Wait. The volume up button is the pause button? That's amazing. Well, I have no idea how to turn the volume up, but oh my gosh, look at this. ROM's a little finicky, it looks like, but I literally did Google NES ROMs and found a pack called Best NES ROMs. Totally legit, no virus. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're probably wondering why I even bothered to do this all in the first place. You saw all the struggles I went through, the pain and suffering. It's for this. This is so cool to me. So, I'm darn near 40. And when I was young, and say I'm concentrating on gameplay and talking, which I have never been good at. But when I was young, my grandfather and grandmother bought my sister and I a Nintendo. And that was the best thing ever. And when we would play the Nintendo, there was a 13-inch black and white TV in their bedroom that they would let us play on. And then eventually, they would let us actually use the console TV that was out in the living room to play games. And I have spent, I don't know how much time playing Mario as a wee child. So, like, this game especially, and there's some kind of fighting game that I need to find. It's a side-scroller, obviously, you know, it's Nintendo. But it wasn't like an official Nintendo game. I have no idea where my mom even got it. But she had bought us this this game, and it was so wonderful. And somehow or another, the cartridge got, like the game cartridge got lost over the years. So I have no idea what that game is, but I need to find it and I need to play it on here. And the other thing I need to do is I need to take this to my nephew's house and have him play the same games that his mom and I played together as children. So basically, you know, this is a stupid thing to do. I understand that, but this is so cool to me. Like, yeah, I could have went out and bought a Game Boy. I have a PSP here at home. I could have modded that and put stuff on this, which I'm planning to do actually. But like, this is I don't know. I just love making things do. How can I phrase this? I love making equipment do things it was never intended for. How's that sound? Or maybe not in the way that the manufacturer intended. If you've ever heard of, well, I'm sure you've heard of Cisco, not the singer and not the food people, the networking people. So they have a subsection of their company called Meraki, which I will keep my opinions about Meraki to myself, but some of their Meraki equipment you were actually able to put other firmware on. If you weren't, then it became a brick. But, oh, there we go. Still remember that. But I have a Meraki access point here at home that I was able to put different firmware on, and I'm able to give it a second life. And now I don't have any use for it here at home at the moment, but I will have to figure out how to turn the volume down. That's so funny to me that the volume up button that's normally on the LeapsterGS is the pause button. But anyways, yeah, so that router, they never intended you to do that because Meraki's entire business model is subscriptions. Like, I got that Meraki equipment for free because at the time I worked at a company where they were hoping we would switch to Meraki. Then we saw the licensing fees, and my boss about had a stroke, and so did I. Tens of thousands of dollars, we'll just put it that way. But so I took that piece of equipment that was going to become scrap. It was like, there's nothing you can do with that if, you know, some hero out there doesn't reverse engineer it, you know, and get different firmware that you put on it. So now I have this access point that I actually can use, and I can hook it up to a system. And I also had a switch from them that, and of course not the Nintendo type, not this type. I had a network switch from them that I'm going to be trying to do the same thing to. Even though this equipment, you know, I got it like 5-6 years ago, it seems like people are finally now figuring out how to do firmware for this kind of stuff. And I realize I'm rambling at this point, but I just, this is so cool. Would I recommend you do this? No. You saw the pain that I went through. Unless you enjoy the experience. I will say, like, if this was easy, it'd be cool, but it wouldn't be memorable. The fact that I suffered to do this just makes the end result so much better. Because like now, look what I did. I took a LeapsterGS and I'm playing Nintendo games on it. And soon enough, I'm going to be playing Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Normal, whatever you would call that, and Sega Genesis and all this other, games that I played in my childhood, games I never, we never had the money to buy, like a Super Nintendo. We never had one. So I can play that on this. And I never had a Game Boy Advance. And you can actually even play PlayStation games on this. Not with the image that I put on it, because the image that I put on it doesn't overclock it for, you would need to overclock it so that you can play PlayStation games and the like. But I didn't install that because it wasn't working for me. This is good enough for now. Maybe down the road, I'll try that again, especially if I can find one of these cheap enough and, have this one working. And then set it aside, take another one and play around with it. So even if I fail, at least I have one that works. But, yeah. So this was a cool experience. Let me know what you think here. Obviously, I'm very new to this kind of stuff. I did have a YouTube channel previously where most of it was just clips thrown together, nothing too crazy. Whereas this, I think I already have 26 videos that are going to need to be stitched together and edited and uploaded. So that's going to be a small nightmare for me. But once again, this is Percussive Maintenance. This little guy didn't need any, luckily. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.